We're talking poinsettias. We've got our fake ones all over the stage. Talk to us about the history.
Well, it is L.A.
Yes, it is L.A. And it's appropriate that L.A. gave this plant, this flower, the makeover that it needed to blossom, at least in a retail sense. So it's important to note, poinsettia comes from Mexico. It's native, it's a shrub, it's kind of a spindly plant. Going back to the Aztec culture, they used it for red dye, also for medicine for fevers. It was rediscovered by the U.S. ambassador to Mexico, Joel Roberts Poinsett, who brought it back to the United States, renamed it after himself. And there it sat, sometimes as a symbol of Christmas, oftentimes not. But in Los Angeles in 1902, an immigrant from Switzerland named Albert Eck discovered that the poinsettia, like much else in Los Angeles, loves the climate, and it grew abundantly. And he thought that if he could license technology from Germany to sort of graft the plant and make it, let's say, evolve a little bit, he was able to turn that spindly plant into these robust, deep red leaves, and also made it much more hardy, so it would last for about 6 to 8 weeks, despite even minimal care, people with a brown thumb. So what happened? He started selling them from his farm in Eagle Rock to Sunset Boulevard to the developers of communities, burgeoning communities like Beverly Hills and Westwood, who would put the poinsettias all over. The red display was just vibrant, and everybody loved the colors. And what ended up happening, a major thing, he sold them in pots instead of bouquets, and from there they started catching on, especially behind his son, Paul Eck, who did some very creative and aggressive marketing. He'd send them to TV shows who would put them on their set. He'd send them to magazines like Good Housekeeping or TV Guide, who would put them on the cover, and a poinsettia empire was born. It's the largest selling plant in the United States today.
But the Eck family, so they started here, and by the way, I didn't realize that it's all because of them, that it's the potted plant now,
yes,
right? Because
yes.
that's all that I think about when I think of a poinsettia.
Correct.
Then they moved, right? They moved to
Encinitas, where their main farm was until 2012 when they sold that. But they kept growing houses in Hollywood and Westwood. And again, the roots, pun intended, of the poinsettia's explosion in the United States are from Los Angeles and Eagle Rock.
All right, one other cool LA thing when it comes to plants. There's Fido the reindeer in the valley. What's this about?
Oh, man. Fido the reindeer, close to my heart. I grew up in Sepulveda, which is now North Hills, and there is an ivy dog, or should I say reindeer, during this time of year, and it's maintained by these two lovely homeowners, Brian and Sue Welch. It's right there on Plummer and Havenhurst, and what it was an archway that just started growing ivy. And Sue said to her husband, Brian, who was a hairstylist, why don't you create a dog, since it kind of sort of is taking that form? So he took that seriously, and it became this beloved community icon, an ivy dog. And then their sons, Mark and Andrew, about 15 years ago, were like, why don't we turn that dog into a reindeer for the holidays? And there it is. They dress it up. They put little antlers on it.
What are the antlers made of?
Styrofoam and other kinds of like paper mache type of material.
That's awesome.
But
that's an Instagrammable moment.
Totally
right?
Instagrammable, just very, very Los Angeles.
Oh my goodness, I love it.
Yep.
Poinsettias, are they still used for medicinal purposes down in Mexico?
Wow.
Do you know?
I'm sure you know there are a lot of native remedies that are probably better than some of the stuff we get over the counter and prescribed, so I wouldn't be surprised if it still is.
And as we wrap up, shout out to Vallarta Supermarket. Also, quite the sweater you got going there.
This is an American dream story, one of my favorite Los Angeles American dream stories. Enrique Gonzalez in 1985, he was an immigrant from Jalosto Titlan in Jalisco, Mexico. He opened a carniceria, Van Nuys, 1985. Within 5 years, it was the first brick and mortar supermarket called Vallarta. Today, there are 53 locations with 8,000 employees, and it all started with a dream, and it's still family owned. Great LA company and a true LA American dream story. And thank you for the sweater, Vallarta.
Love it.
He can't be stumped when it comes to LA.
Yep. All right, so you get much more from Evan. Follow LA in a Minute on Instagram. Subscribe to the In a Minute with Evan Lovett podcast. The most recent episode, Evan goes one-on-one with the mayor of LA.
That's
Evan
right.
getting all the big interviews.
Hey, trying to follow in your footsteps.
That's right.
Thank
Exactly.
you.
Sharing contacts over here. All right. Thanks so much.